and that is the Houston Texans and the Arizona Cardinals should trade Deshaun Watson for Kyler Murray, right? Because from a Houston standpoint, you're dealing away one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but you're getting one of the biggest potential quarterbacks in return, because Kyler Murray is getting better. He's going into his third year, looked really good this past year. So you can say, hey, he's not Deshaun Watson, but he might be someday, right? And then from an Arizona standpoint, you may really like Kyler Murray there. Like, again, his trajectory is going way up. He's going to become one of the better quarterbacks in this league. Well, maybe he already is, but he's going to become one of the best quarterbacks in this league. But you can only hope that he becomes Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson is still only 25. So now for Arizona, maybe they really love Kyler Murray, and they also love the fact that he's still on his rookie contract for a couple more years, which is nice. But if you get Deshaun Watson in return, you're getting a proven elite top 5 quarterback in this league, and you get to reunite him with DeAndre Hopkins, his former teammate in Houston, who he wishes never got traded. He was mad at the Texans for trading DeAndre Hopkins. And you also get to reunite him with J.J. Watt, who recently signed with Arizona as a free agent. And from a J.J. Watt point of view, how great would you feel if you just signed with Arizona, who I kind of criticize J.J. Watt's decision only because I don't see Arizona as being an immediate contender. Like, I see them as being maybe an ascending team, but they may not be able to really compete for a Super Bowl, while J.J. Watt is still in the league. But if they were to acquire Deshaun Watson, then yeah, Arizona does become a contender, and that really validates J.J. Watt's decision to sign there, okay? Now, I guess the bigger question would be is this something Deshaun Watson would be willing to veto his no-trade clause to be willing to go there? So let me read some of this piece from Mike Florio. A week after John McClain wrote that the Texans should accept reality and trade Watson, McClain argues that the Texans should approach the Cardinals about a Ken Stabler, Dan Pastorini-style quarterback swap. It's a move that instantly would make sense for the Texans and Watson. Houston would replace one franchise quarterback with another, and Watson would be reunited with DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt on a team that had twice the wins as the Texans in 2020. It's a good point. The Cardinals, however, would have to be willing to embrace Watson and his contract in the place of Murray, the first overall pick in 2019, who has shown flashes of superstardom. Then there's Murray. As McClain notes, Murray has to be on board with joining a franchise mired in dysfunction. After all, Murray has the ultimate leverage. He can quit football and go play baseball. It currently would cost him $11.6 million, though, to walk, they note, away from football for baseball if the Texans trade for Murray, and if Murray leaves the sport, the Texans would have the right to recover the unearned bonus money. If both teams and both quarterbacks would be okay with it, the next challenge becomes fixing the right price for a trade. Would a straight swap deal do it, or would the Cardinals have to add more to the pile? Now, guys, they would have to add more to the pile, unless they just really fleece Houston. Like, they would have, Houston, who right now isn't even answering phone calls for Deshaun Watson, are you telling me they're going to give up so much of their leverage that they're going to agree to a straight swap? No, you've got to get something additional in return. Again, Kyler Murray might end up being a great player. He's already a fine player, but he does not match right now what Deshaun Watson does at quarterback. So no, you would have to add something to that deal. Let me see. From Arizona's perspective, the argument against adding more could be that they're giving up Murray and the 3 years left on his rookie deal for a contract that pays out $10 million this year, and that is a huge $35 million salary in 2022. McClain opens his item by explaining that he hadn't considered a Kyler for Deshaun swap until J.J. Watt joined the Cardinals. That's when the light bulb first flickered for me, he said. It's a long shot to be sure, but even crazier things have happened in the NFL. Indeed, it feels like in the coming days, even crazier things will happen. Let me think about the prospects of that deal, okay? And this is not reality. This is just a hypothesis for now, right? I think the only loser, if that trade were to happen, assuming Arizona throws in something extra, because I think that they would have to. Houston it would not be value for them to straight swap an already elite Deshaun Watson for a potentially elite Kyler Murray. They would have to get something additional in return. So assuming they did, you could call the Houston Texans a winner because they would solve the problem of the quarterback who does not want to play for them and is unwilling to play for them. So that you would solve that problem, that you get to unload an unhappy Watson while getting a really promising player in return. And you know what? If they were weighing up options between sending Watson to Arizona versus sending Watson to Miami and getting Tua in return, being real here, who do you think they'd rather have starting for them to open the season? Kyler Murray or Tua Tagovailoa? I think the answer is Kyler Murray, right? I think Tua can be great, but he's a longer way from that right now than Kyler Murray is. So I think that would check off the box more for Houston. So for Houston, obviously giving up Watson is a nightmare situation, but it's an even bigger nightmare to hold him hostage if he's unwilling to play for you. So I think Houston would win in that deal if they sent Watson to Arizona for Murray. Houston's a winner. Arizona, tremendous winner. You're getting one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You're reuniting him with a wide receiver that he loves playing with. And with a former teammate of his on the defensive side of the football who's elite and a difference maker, and you become a playoff contender, if not a Super Bowl contender, if you make that move. So Arizona's a big winner there. I think the only loser there, and to my knowledge, he doesn't have a no-trade clause, so I don't think there's really anything he could do about it. But the only loser there would be Kyler Murray. It's a really shitty situation to put the kid in. I mean, he already once chose professional football over professional baseball. When he could have been a highly touted professional baseball player, he chose to play football. And, the unfortunate truth is Houston, the Texans organization, does not seem like a great place to be for a young quarterback. And then you throw in all the racial stuff into the mix, because I think at least part of the reason why, may not be the only reason, but I think at least part of the reason why Deshaun Watson is so unhappy with the Houston Texans are, racial undertones about them being less willing, to get behind social justice issues. And even now, you kind of feel like there might be racial reasons why, they are completely refusing to being opening to deal him, because they don't want to make it look like a young black quarterback is getting the better of them in a negotiation or a leverage situation. So if I'm Kyler Murray, I don't know if that's a team that I'd be running to play for. I think right now you need a big image. You need an exorcism right now with the Houston Texans when it comes to improving and, sort of revamping the image of that team. And that might be the type of a situation where, again, like the story said, Mike Florio said it, that the only real leverage that Kyler Murray would have is he can say, peace, I'm out, I'm going back to baseball, but then you're also having to cough up $11 million to leave football for baseball. So, yeah, if that trade were to happen, Kyler Murray for Deshaun Watson, the Houston Texans are winners there. Deshaun Watson is a winner there because he gets to go to a team that was already better than his team last year, and he gets to reunite with his favorite wide receiver. The Arizona Cardinals are winners because that makes them a deep playoff run contender. I think the only loser there would be Kyler Murray. I think that would be a really crappy situation to put him in, man. It really, really would be. 844-416-8123 is the number. That's 844-416-8123. Texter writes in, Inter are on the TV on a weekday and Dono is on the radio. This is becoming a thing. Yeah, and I've been through an emotional roller coaster already in this match. So here's where we're at. 69th minute, Inter have the 1-0 lead against Atalanta. So there's a little over 20 minutes to go plus stoppage time. I can't help but feeling Inter need another goal in this match, knowing how dangerous Atalanta are, one of the most dangerous attacks in Europe. For as much as I like Inter's defense, De Vrij, Skriniar, Bastoni, Handanovic seems to have found the fountain of youth the past few weeks, because a few weeks ago this guy was a statue and now he's making saves in recent weeks. So as much as I like Inter's defense, I don't love the prospects of keeping a clean sheet in this match against Atalanta. So I think we're going to need another goal in this game. Now, speaking on Inter Miami, I mentioned in Tito's update, he talked about Lewis Morgan signing an extension with Inter Miami. I mean, it makes so much sense to take care of and lock up your team MVP from last year, right? Because for as much talk as there was last season about the LGP, Matuidi, and Gonzalo Higuain additions throughout the season, the highest paid players, the flashiest players on the club, the only guy who was consistently excellent for the entire season, didn't take a game off in terms of effectiveness, was consistently great the entire season long, was your young Scottish right winger, Lewis Morgan, who was a revelation. Now, a couple of months ago, you guys remember listening to this station, listening to the Onside Zone with Big O, listening to my show a couple of months ago, right around the January transfer window, there were some rumors, British tabloid stuff, trying to link Lewis Morgan to some English clubs, league championship level clubs, I think, not Premier League. But there were a lot of rumors trying to link Lewis Morgan to English clubs and people speculating, are they going to sign Lewis Morgan away from Inter Miami? What teams are close to signing him? And we told you on this station, Big O told you, I told you, Inter Miami was going to take care of Lewis Morgan. I did not have a doubt for a second that they were actually going to end up selling Lewis Morgan, because two important factors here, folks. Lewis Morgan is happy in Miami. That's number one, because he's not going to get transferred. He's not going to get sold if he doesn't want to leave. And number two, Jorge Mas and the ownership here at Inter Miami, David Beckham on down, they love them some Lewis Morgan. They're not going to sell this guy just for the purpose of selling him. They want to build this team at least partially around Lewis Morgan, in addition to some of their other good players. But Lewis Morgan was the MVP last year. A couple months ago when the transfer rumors came up, I told you then I have no concern whatsoever about Lewis Morgan leaving Miami. And hopefully you guys now believe me, because they're signing him to an extension with TAM money. So Lewis Morgan is sticking around with Inter Miami CF. When we come back, we're going to talk some Miami Dolphins, about the false alarm retirement of Ryan Fitzpatrick. We're going to talk some free agency, some draft, with our very good friend who can also talk hockey with us, Alan Pupar from Sports Illustrated. Hey, when you hunger for sports talk, there's only one option. Talk About Sports with David Friedman. Every Saturday, new show, great show, debuted last week. Every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m., join David every weekend as he takes a different angle to sports. Tune in every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. for Talk About Sports with David Friedman, exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Dano. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
We live in challenging times, and we understand you have questions about how you're going to take care of your family and yourself. Well, you can trust the Publix is doing everything possible to help. Our stores continue to be open. We're busy restocking as quickly as we can. But please remember to think of others as you shop for the week ahead. This will give your friends and neighbors the opportunity to get what they need as well. Our supply chains are strong. Deliveries are being made throughout the day, and our associates are here every step of the way. It's not always going to be perfect, but together we'll make it through this. So let's be safe. Let's be calm. Let's be kind. Visit Publix.com for all the latest information.
You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwart here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m. only on OnsideRadio.com.
He has an overbite that makes him look like a cartoon character, a slightly crooked eye, and an uncommonly wrinkly neck. In the right light, he can look a little like a garden gnome, and he'll wear a bow tie just because. Sure, you might call him a little quirky, but that's exactly what makes him so perfect. Tuna is a 3-year-old Chihuahua Dachshund mix with more than 700,000 followers on Instagram, and it all started because he was adopted. You can't buy a best friend like Tuna, but you can adopt one. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit moretoadhd.com for additional information. That's moretoadhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Dono. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
You know, we love talking Miami Dolphins and a little Florida Panthers as well with our friend Alan Pupar from Sports Illustrated. That's where he covers the Dolphins, and he's also the NHL's Florida correspondent on NHL.com. Alan, I hope you had an excellent weekend. How's Monday treating you so far, sir?
Can't complain. It's actually been very good. Yourself?
Yeah, very good. I mean, pretty good weather outside. Decent kind of a quiet sports weekend. I mean, we were good and bad with the Panthers, a win and a loss over the weekend. I watched some of the NBA All-Star stuff last night, which wasn't terrible, so it's not bad. You've done really good work, man, on this Ryan Fitzpatrick story. So, over the weekend, reports surfaced that Fitzpatrick was leaning towards retirement, and I enjoyed your piece in SI. I read it this morning, where, as somebody famously said, you wrote, "Not so fast, my friend." So, Alan, what are you hearing about Ryan Fitzpatrick's future in the National Football League?
Yeah, I had to go from good old Luke Corso for that one. Well, when I saw the reports of Ryan Fitzpatrick supposedly leaning toward retirement, and it was like, really? Because it certainly didn't sound like somebody who was ready to retire when he spoke to the Dolphin beat writers late last year before he wound up, unfortunately, with COVID, and then also when he did an interview on the Pat McAfee show during Super Bowl week. And I looked into it and was told in no uncertain terms that that report was flat out not true, that he's absolutely looking to keep playing. Now, the question is what kind of offer he's going to be able to get out there, because as he's told us so many times what he enjoys is competing, so I have a hard time seeing Fitzpatrick accept a situation where he's going to go in clearly as a backup with no chance to start, which clearly would be the case if he were to remain in Miami.
Right.
From a Dolphin standpoint, too, is I don't think they want Fitzpatrick around, considering that he replaced Tua twice last year, and they don't want Tua looking over his shoulder at the guy who came in for him twice last season. So inevitably, Fitzpatrick, I say inevitably, I would say in all likelihood, there's no way Fitzpatrick will return to the Dolphins. He's going to test the free agent market, see what's out there, see if he can get a place where he can compete for a starting job, and take it from there.
And of course, I don't know for sure which teams would make him an offer, but a couple that would stand out to me, Alan, that it would at least be logical. I don't think anyone is going to just pencil him in to be their starting quarterback because he's in his late 30s, but maybe a spot like either Denver with Drew Lock, who's not the most solid starting quarterback foundation, and maybe Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts could be a couple of spots where he could come in and compete. What do you think, and am I leaving anybody out?
Well, if we're going by the Chris Mortensen report from this morning, where he reported that Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Eagles, has basically told people in the organization, I want Jalen Hurts as my starter. That takes care of the Philly angle. You mentioned Denver. Certainly there could be some merit to that, because what the Broncos are thinking about Drew Lock is a great mystery at this time. New England has been mentioned as a possibility as well if they don't bring back Cam Newton. There's also a school of thought that the Patriots are going to maybe try to get one of those rookie quarterbacks in the draft. They're a possibility. I see Washington also as a possibility. They're moving on from Alex Smith. Right now, you're looking at Taylor Heineke, who I know is a great story, the way he performed in the playoffs last year, but certainly not exactly what you call a proven commodity at quarterback. So I think those are some of the teams that would make sense for Fitzpatrick.
You know, and so again, just so everyone knows, we're not expecting Fitzpatrick to retire at this time. Of course, that is going to happen, I'm sure, within the next couple of years. So, and I know I'm not the first person to bring this up, Alan, but when the day does come for Fitzpatrick to hang it up, don't you think he'd be a great studio host or a broadcaster? Because he's got the intelligence and the personality, and he's well-spoken. Like I could see this guy in a couple of years becoming a staple on NFL Live on ESPN. I think he could have that sort of personality. What do you think?
Oh, no question. He's got the quick wit. He does have a great personality. He's very sharp. He went to Harvard, by the way. I'm not sure if you were aware.
Oh, yeah.
No, and that makes a lot more sense to me. I know some people have thrown out the idea of him becoming a coach. Dude's got 7 kids at home, and he's been leaving his wife to do the bulk of the work with those kids for quite a while now. And if he does retire and takes on a broadcasting job, that's not quite as time-consuming as being an NFL coach. So that would make a lot more sense. And as you mentioned, he does have all the qualifications.
Alan Poupart from Sports Illustrated joins us here on Onside Radio. I'm sure that someone in your line of work writing about the Dolphins, you're always kind of tracking the Deshaun Watson situation. Now, you know, we spoke a week or two ago. I don't know if I asked you about Watson specifically, but you know, how do you feel about the prospects of him getting traded, whether it's the Dolphins or not, the chances you think he stays in Houston? Because, you know, for what it's worth, the Houston Texans are still at this time not answering any calls.
No, and not only that, they're basically like, don't bother us about Deshaun Watson. I mean, they're very adamant about it. But does anybody really think they're just going to go ahead and play hardball with the guy and basically tell him, okay, Deshaun, you don't want to play with us, sit out the entire season, and basically get nothing for him of value in 2021 when they can get a bounty of draft picks and or young players? I find it very, very hard to believe that that's not going to come to a head, and the Texans at some point are going to relent and basically decide that they have no choice. And because from all indications, every other report that comes out from Watson's vantage point is always he's knowing how he's staying in Houston.
Right. So going back to the Dolphins, last week it was announced Kyle Van Noy was being released. Are you expecting more cap casualties? Who do you think could be the next to be on the chopping block?
Well, the guys who really jump out are the two safeties because of their cap numbers and the dead cap space that the Dolphins would incur by releasing them. So I'm talking about Bobby McCain and Eric Rowe. I can't imagine the Dolphins cutting both of them. If they cut one of them to create more cap space, from where I sit, to me, I think Eric Rowe is a better player, but I do know that they really like Bobby McCain in terms of his communication, his leadership, and all that. So who knows, from that standpoint, they have a couple of wide receivers that they could easily cut. Would save some money, but not a ton. And I'm talking about Jakeem Grant, Albert Wilson, who already took a pay cut last year, but then opted out, so his contract turned to this year. And I'll give you one. If you're looking, again, if you're examining dead space versus cap savings, if you look at a post-June 1st cut, now obviously the savings wouldn't apply until then, but if you're looking long range to create cap space, Devontae Parker is the guy that stands out to me.
Ooh.
And no, I know he's a big name. He's got tons of talent. In 2019, he was about as good a wide receiver as there was in the UFC. But have we reached the point, or are we getting close to the point where the Dolphins are going to decide, you know what, tired of this guy always being hurt, not being able to maximize his ability year in and year out, and we can save a lot of money. I won't recall the exact numbers, but the difference I believe it's maybe 9 or 12 million, and then the dead cap space would be $4 million. So then that's not insignificant. So I think he's somebody that maybe you keep an eye on later on.
Well, and not to mention, I mean, if the Dolphins were to draft a receiver in the first round and maybe also add a receiver in free agency, if they were to address that position in a high-profile way, I don't think too many fans would be shocked or overly upset if Devontae Parker was released. And I know something you wrote a piece about, Alan, in SI, is the prospects of Jalen Waddle. And I sometimes wonder why people don't talk more about Waddle. I guess because he was hurt for so long last year. But even so, people talk about Jamar Chase, and he didn't even play last season at all. So it's like when we're talking about number 3 overall or even a little bit later on in the first round, the names that always get brought up are the Heisman winner Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase. Could you see Jalen Waddle potentially? And this is not necessarily a move I would make at number 3, but if the Dolphins trade down like lower in the top 10, I would love to add Jalen Waddle. Do you think he's very much on Miami's radar?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, it's my understanding that they like themselves some Jalen Waddle. So, and as you said, certainly not a 3, but I don't see, from where I sit, I don't see either Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith at 3 either.
True.
But in a scenario where they trade down, which is a very realistic scenario, and they moved on, if you look at the logical candidates to move down, whether it's Carolina at 8 or maybe Frisco at 12, let's say that at 12, the chances that all 3 of those wide receivers would be there probably not great, but at 8, I think definitely or logically one of those 3 would be there, and the Dolphins would be happy with any of them, and that certainly includes Jalen Waddle, whose skill set's a little bit different, but who's the one who's the burner. The comparison you hear with him is Tyreek Hill. And I don't think any Dolphin fan would complain if the Dolphins had Tyreek Hill in their offense.
Do you have any concern at all, by the way, over the last couple of weeks when there was a report that Devontae Smith was asked, who he likes better as a quarterback between Tua and Mac Jones, and he reportedly, without hesitation, said Mac Jones. And then Waddle was being interviewed on TV, and he was asked that question about by Andrew Siciliano, and he, with no hesitation, said Mac Jones. Does that, as a guy who covers Tua Tagovailoa, is that concerning at all?
Means nothing to me, to be honest with you. And there are 2 reasons why you would almost suspect those guys to say that. Is number 1, they both ended their careers at Alabama with Mac Jones and now with Tua.
Right.
So they had that kinship. And then number 2, Tua's already in the NFL, has already been drafted. If they're thinking subconsciously or consciously, hey, let me give my guy a shot up, maybe that's going to help him in the draft, let me go ahead and do that for Mac Jones.
Yeah, makes sense.
So no, it does not concern me.
Yeah, we're joined here by Alan Poupart from Sports Illustrated, also from NHL.com. It was a mixed weekend for the Florida Panthers. They got the win on Saturday. They got the loss, the regulation loss, which is rare for these Panthers, but a regulation loss to Carolina yesterday. Carolina, a really good team. I think sometimes people forget because I hear people locally who maybe don't watch hockey like, how do you lose to Carolina? Carolina's a really good team. So Vincent Trocheck, our guy, keeps scoring goals against the Panthers. Where do the Panthers, in your mind, sit in the pecking order in the division? Because to me, it's Tampa 1, Carolina 2, Florida 3. You agree?
Completely. And this is why. And the good news is that the Panthers have gotten off to such a great start and appear to be a good enough team that making the playoffs is not going to be a matter of sweating it out to the end, that they look like they're solidly a playoff team. They're going to have an awfully tough time getting out of that division because I'm with you. Tampa Bay 1 and Carolina not far behind. And I think Carolina is a really, really good team, especially with Trocheck lighting it up the way he is now after a couple of down years with the Panthers.
We spoke a lot about the Cats right before the season started, and you told me that, the team definitely got tougher and that you weren't quite sure if they made themselves a better regular season team, but that they definitely made themselves a better playoff team. But with that said, have you been surprised at all by the really good start that they've gotten off to in the regular season?
Oh, no question. I mean, and they've had a couple of guys who have taken big steps forward and maybe are performing better than I would have expected. Like Aaron Eckblad's having a lights-out year. And I always thought of him as a good defenseman, not a great defenseman. And this season so far, he's been great.
Yeah.
No question about it. I knew Radko Gudas as a tough defenseman who would bring physicality, and he's one of those guys I figured would help in the playoffs. I'll be honest, and he's shocked me by how sound he is defensively. He is practically very, very rarely has gotten caught out of position. He plays his role. I've been very impressed with him. And we knew Patrick Hornquist would help the power play, but for him to be scoring goals the way he is, I'm not sure anybody would have predicted that. So, yeah, a little bit surprised about how well they've done, but certainly an enjoyable season so far.
Oh, really good stuff by you, my friend, as always. Make sure everyone checks out Alan's work covering the Dolphins for Sports Illustrated and covering the Cats for NHL.com. Alan Poupart and A Poupart Fins, by the way, on Twitter. Alan, thank you so much, my friend, and enjoy the rest of your week coming up.
Well, you do likewise.
Really good stuff there
Thank
by
you.
Alan. Yeah, we'll continue the 4 o'clock hour here on Onside Radio. Coming up next, we'll explain why everyone on Twitter is really mad right now at Burger King. Spoiler alert, it's not because of the food, surprisingly enough. Man of the Match continues. Hey, Saturdays at 8 a.m., baseball fans can go deep into the count with our guy Alex Aguirre and Christian Chase. Catch the show that talks Marlins and all the big stories in the major leagues. Every Saturday at 8 a.m., Seamheads have a new home. Listen to Deep Into the Count exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Dano. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com. Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Riddle me this, with all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich. Papa John's.
My daughter Brinley is here at St. Jude. Coming here was literally life or death, and it was so scary. But St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life. And that gave us hope. We haven't received a single bill from St. Jude, so I really can just focus on what's best for Brinley.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
The Florida Panthers dropped a close game against the Carolina Hurricanes yesterday, 2-1. The loss moves the Panthers to third in the Central Division behind Carolina and the Tampa Bay Lightning, but only sit 2 points behind the Central lead. The Panthers are back on the ice tomorrow night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Puck drops at 7 p.m. NBA All-Star Game Festivities took place last night, and Team LeBron defeated Team Durant 170-150, and Giannis Antetokounmpo took home the All-Star Game MVP, going 16 for 16 from the field for 35 points. Also in the NBA, after being bought out by the Pistons, Blake Griffin has signed with the Brooklyn Nets on a veteran's minimum deal to provide some front court depth. And now Alex Donno can breathe. He can finally relax in the studio as Inter Milan has defeated Atalanta 1-0 for some Serie A action today. With your Onside Sports update, I'm Alex Aguirre, and coming up next is more Man of the Match with Alex Donno, and Game Night with Michael Christian is right after at 6 p.m. You're listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Thanks again to Alan Poupart for joining us, talking some Dolphins and a little Florida Panthers. Back in the 3 o'clock hour, we had Ira Winterman on. We talked some Miami Heat with him on the accurate Pembroke Pines Miami Heat report. You tell me, guys, on the text line, 844-416-8123. I want to get Alex Aguirre's take on this as well. You tell me if the official Twitter account for Burger King UK went way too far with this viral campaign, right? They not only tweeted this, but supposedly they took out an ad in an English newspaper with this as well. It's obviously what they're trying to do. They're trying to shock people. They're trying to get retweeted. They're trying to get talked about. Now, I think what they did was kind of brilliant, but I also understand that with 2021 being what it is, and with how, a lot of sensitivity and a lot of social justice warriors out there, people who don't really care about the point being made, they only care about spreading outrage, why this was received so poorly. Now, if I were running a Twitter account for a gigantic business like this, I don't think I would have tweeted something like this, right? Because I backlash then about, there's that cliche that there's no such thing as bad publicity, that all publicity is good publicity. I think that's what BK UK, Burger King UK, was going for here. So Burger King, and today, of course, as you probably know, and if you didn't, it's International Women's Day today. This is where we celebrate, the great accomplishments of women, whether it be women who blaze the trails, the Amelia Earharts of the world, or, women that have touched your own life. I threw a shout out earlier to my wife, my mother, my sister, some of the most important women in my life. And on International Women's Day, Burger King sent out a tweet. Now, they wrote a couple of follow-up tweets, which are really important, right? Because if it was just the original tweet, they're screwed, okay? Burger King tweeted this morning, "Women belong in the kitchen." That was their original tweet. So what do you think happens? 2021, you put something like that on Twitter. People are losing their shit. I mean, people are losing their freaking minds. Now, they wrote 2 follow-up tweets, which goes to show you they wanted the attention. Like, they wanted people to retweet it. They wanted people talking about Burger King. So their original tweet was just the 5 words, "Women belong in the kitchen." Then they quickly wrote a follow-up tweet, "If they want to, of course. Yet only 20% of chefs are women," they said. we're on a mission to change the gender ratio in the restaurant industry by empowering female employees with the opportunity to pursue a culinary career with the hashtag IWD for International Women's Day. Then they write another follow-up tweet, and oh my, as it turns out, Burger King is actually doing something really good. Now, most people are not focusing on what they're doing. They're focusing on the original tweet, which was the attention grabber. So they write another follow-up tweet. We are proud to be launching a new scholarship program which will help female Burger King employees pursue their culinary dreams. So the end result of it, when you follow that Twitter chain, is Burger King is actually doing something tangible to empower women. So where do you fall on this? Was the original tweet, which out of context looks pretty messed up, right? For them just to say women belong in the kitchen. But then the follow-up tweets are, yet only 20% of chefs are women. We want to empower female employees, and they're offering the scholarship program. So 95% of the reactions to this that I've seen on social media, as you would expect, because that's what we do on social media, 95% of the reactions I've seen are very negative. Cancel Burger King, boycott. This is terrible. How dare they do this? But let me ask you a question. Once they got to their third tweet, if the third tweet had been the only tweet, like if Burger King UK had just randomly tweeted out, we are proud to be launching a new scholarship program which will help female Burger King employees pursue their culinary dreams. If they just wrote that tweet, would anyone have cared? Like, would anyone have said, oh, I've got to share this? Like, I've got to let people know, look what Burger King's doing to empower women. I think the only reason why anybody saw that third tweet is because they saw the first tweet. So let me ask, is the shock worth it, right? And again, I would never do something like that on my own personal Twitter account. I've been on social media for too long. I know how people will take everything the wrong way, and the shock value, it's not worth it from where I sit, right? But can't you also argue nobody would know or care about Burger King's scholarship program for female employees if not for the original tweet getting everyone's attention? So is it worth it? Because I think that they're getting a little bit unfairly trashed because it all turned out to be a troll job at the end of it. But don't you also say that it's a little messed up on International Women's Day to lead off with the tweet that they started with? I mean, did you see that tweet today, Aguirre? Did you see the Burger King tweet? Did you have any reaction to it? Because, of course, like anyone else, I saw the original tweet because it was retweeted 1,000 times. And then I said, there's got to be some kind of a trick. Like, there's no way Burger King is just tweeting out women belong in the kitchen. Like, I knew there had to be something else there. So I read their little thread, and I thought, that's kind of clever, but also kind of risky in 2021.
Burger King sits at the bottom of the totem pole on my fast food chain to begin with, so I'm not surprised that they did something so stupid. I'm like, it's just why, like, who's running the Twitter page over there?
Well, it's the
how can you do that?
And it's the UK page. Like, are the Brits a little bit more daring on Twitter? Because it wasn't even the American account. It was the BK. UK, United Kingdom account.
Right.
So, like, do they push the envelope more in Britain is what I'm wondering, because the American didn't have the balls to do that.
I get it that, like, British humor is different than, like, American humor and, like, in cinema and, TV series and whatnot, but I didn't think they'll, cross that type of line.
Now, I think maybe the more important question is, because obviously when they sent out this tweet, they had to know they're taking a risk. Like, they had to know people are going to take this the wrong way. Do you think that they predicted this much outrage? Like, do you think that when the BK United Kingdom social media vice president or whoever it is that's in charge of sending out that tweet, like the VP of communications, I'm sure had to approve it. Do you think that man, or I wonder if it was even a woman, that would be an interesting twist. Like, can you imagine if we find out that the person who runs the account is actually a woman? I don't know. I have no idea whether that's the case or not, but that would be an interesting twist to the story. They had to know this is going to create some outrage, but do you think they thought, hey, once people see the next two tweets, they're going to think it's funny? Or, because I kind of... You know what? I kind of lean to the former. I think that the people who are in that business, like, this had to be a very high-ranking executive who had to approve of that tweet. Hell, they probably had to run it by the American corporate, right? Because when even if it's the UK branch, when you send out a tweet like that, that's reflecting the entire Burger King corporation. Like you have to alert the United States that you're doing that, I would think. They must have thought, you know what? Maybe we're looking at Wendy's is kicking our ass right now. McDonald's has been kicking our ass for like 50 years, right? Popeyes are selling a ton of chicken sandwiches. We're having trouble moving ours. We need to throw a Hail Mary. Like, we need to do something a little bit desperate to get people talking about us. I think they probably knew this is going to ruffle a lot of feathers, and they decided it was worth it. I wonder if this is going to bite them in the ass, because I think that there are, and you know what, maybe culture today, a week from now, everyone forgets, right? People are going to be talking about this for a week. Maybe some people are going to boycott Burger King till next week because of this. But I wonder if the juice was worth the squeeze for them, because that's pretty risky, man. Pretty risky on International Women's Day to lead off with a tweet like that. 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. You know, something, when you look at the situations of Deshaun Watson in Houston, Russell Wilson in Seattle, an unlikely scenario that would not surprise me, that I think will outline the differences in those two organizations. I want to get into that in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll wrap up the 4 o'clock hour after this. Hey, Heat and NBA fans, catch Ira Winderman here exclusively at OnsideRadio.com with our accurate Pembroke Pines Miami Heat reports. Catch Ira throughout the week at OnsideRadio.com, and when news breaks. Basketball fans know Onside Radio is the place to get the insight you need.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Dano. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits, pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
If you missed 4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh, you missed.
And the top trait they're looking for in a partner is someone that can cook better than them.
Wow.
Yeah. How are you at cooking?
I'm okay. I cook all my stuff.
What's your best dish? If I had to say, Marsh, this you're gonna eat in tonight with a girl. All right.
Well, if I'm cooking for a girl, then I'm not cooking.
4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh, weekday mornings from 8 to 10.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwart here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and Ginger. Captain and Ginger. He was a captain and Ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
We live in challenging times, and we understand you have questions about how you're going to take care of your family and yourself. Well, you can trust the Publix is doing everything possible to help. Our stores continue to be open. We're busy restocking as quickly as we can. But please remember to think of others as you shop for the week ahead. This will give your friends and neighbors